So they put this cage on your head and they bolt it 4 places into your skull, screwing it in. I mean, the doctor was really right in his forehead. Blood was coming down. The dude just started shaking and passed out. I was like, oh my God, I never want this in my life. Having only to look at 3 or 4 pages of math a week was great for me. I like this major. I'm screwed. Literally, not.
My name is Jaroslav Karezlak.
I'm Kamil Kramic.
I'm a professor of biostatistics at Indiana University in the United States.
I'm a supply chain expert with a focus on global transformation projects.
I primarily deal with more efficient use of data coming from medical experiments.
I'm passionate about leadership, continuous improvements, and culture in the global business landscape.
So just wanted to say that all the opinions in this podcast are our own and they do not represent the institutions that we're associated with.
Tell us about yourself. What are you doing? What's your field of study?
Okay.
What drives you? What do you do at work? What do you do, outside of work? What are you passionate about?
Sleep.
Sleep.
So yeah, good question, but I'm going to go back a little bit because we were talking earlier about career choices and what students are doing these days, right? So circle back about 44 years ago, 42 years ago, I graduated from high school in 1980, and I grew up in a lower middle class neighborhood family. Dad was a construction worker, stay-home mom. Didn't have much choices, and I didn't know much about going to college or doing SAT prep classes, or there weren't prep classes back there, but there was still the Barron's book you could do exams. I didn't know any about this, so I just going back a little farther than I wanted. A junior year, I had friends, are you going to take the SAT? And it's like, well, what is the SAT? It's a scholastic.
So maybe you can actually explain. Yeah,
scholastic aptitude test. I don't think you need it anymore for most universities in the United States. Some are shifting back to it now, so you might take it later. And I said, oh, okay. So paid the $25 fee. It's probably several hundred now to take it. And I went in and everyone was talking about studying for it right before the exam. I go, well, how'd you study for this? And they were telling me, I was like, oh man, I'm screwed. Literally, not. I took it, I did okay. I got into the local University of California at Riverside. I was thinking I wanted to do something in medicine. But after, I think it was a quarter system, so you have 3 quarters instead of 2 semesters. Second quarter started biology 101 or something like that. Absolutely hated the memorization. It's not for me. So I thought, I was taking chemistry at the time. I always liked chemistry. I'll do that. So thought about that. I never really selected a major till almost the beginning of my junior year. Sophomore year, I was taking.
So sophomore year for non-Americans, that's the
second year of college.
Second out of 4.
Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
There you go. Okay.
So second year, I was taking chemistry, physics, math courses. Took my calculus 3, which is multivariable calculus, the first quarter. And I thought, oh, topology, I can take this. I don't know what topology is. It sounds interesting. Book was about, maybe 2 or 3 centimeters, no, less than that. Maybe 1.5, 2 centimeters in thickness. And, we'd go and read a few pages once a week or something. And at the beginning of the course, my professor, he was quite old. He is, went to the University of Texas where topology was a big thing in the 40s and 50s. And, he'd ask questions like, okay, you're out golfing. In the first hole you put 1 ball in, second hole you put 2 balls in, 18th hole you put 18 balls in. You do this over and over again. You do it infinitely often. Which hole has more balls in it, right? Most people would think 18. Well, but because of properties of going to infinity, they're all equal at the end of time, right? Well, not at the end of time because infinity has no time. So it was just cool to go home and lay on the bed and just look up into space and think about these problems. And, I had bad eyes my whole life. So reading really strained my eyes. I'd get headaches and stuff. So having only to look at 3 or 4 pages of math a week was great for me. I like this major.
That's fascinating.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And Tim, I'm gonna tell you again. This is a second. You're our second guest from the world of science, where actually the decision what to go into is quite romantic. It's quite actually
I
like
don't know
you
if it's
said, like you
romantic.
sit down and you think
Practical.
about cosmos and stuff.
Yeah,
It is
that thing
practical
too,
with the
but yeah,
eyesight.
yeah.
But I'm thinking I like to think and put. It was really nice to do. I love it. I chose the wrong career. The more I talk to you guys, it's actually it's
Well,
brilliant.
still time. Still
That's true.
time.
That's
You
true.
know, in these courses, you learn about, Mobius strips or Klein bottles that only have one surface. They try to draw pictures of it, but it's hard to visualize. So, just think about these things. Or there's a sequence of numbers called the Fibonacci sequence, and it appears everywhere in nature. These kind of things fascinated
It
me.
is.
And, when I was young, I always liked math as well. But I thought I was better at it than I was until my parents passed away. Well, my mom about 6 years ago. And I was here, she was in California. So my brother and sister, who are still in California, cleaned up the house and found all my old report cards. Sent them to me. I was like, let me see how I did. I was like a B and C student in math in elementary school. I thought, wow, I thought I was better than that.
It's fun to look at your old reports.
It was
Yeah.
humbling.
Yes, yeah.
Very humbling. But anyway, so back, I took the SATs. I did well enough to get into the University of California at Riverside. Spent 4 years there, got my bachelor's degree. When I told my parents, I'm going to major in math, they're like, what are you going to do that for? You should go into business. You can't do anything with math.
Right.
You'll be a teacher, yeah.
Yeah, all you can do is be a high school teacher with that. But I said, I'll find something else to do. There's other jobs out there, I'm sure,
Of course.
So my dad was a big drinker. He'd go to bars all the time. Unbeknownst to me, until I was a sophomore, my dad would go to drink at this one bar, and my former math teacher from high school went to the same bar all the time.
Okay.
Dive bar.
Sure.
Not a
Explain maybe what's a
dive bar. I don't know how to explain it. Can you?
It's, my understanding, I didn't grow up in the States, but it's kind of this really
Dark, dingy,
yeah.
dirty.
Most
They call them
interesting
dive bars.
Yeah.
It's more working class type. People would go to them. It's not a biker bar where be bikers.
We
and
have a
stuff.
Polish word for that, but I don't know how it goes. Speluna.
Speluna, I know how it
So
is.
it's like really, I don't know, how would
They're
you
dark
describe
lit. They have a few
Yeah.
pool tables, a few tables. They usually don't serve food, just
Absolutely. Just
beer
drinks
and maybe some well drink type
What you
things,
see in
yeah.
the movies is kind of American movies with, the kind of the places that the criminals go to, or, it's just where the actions take
Yes,
Right,
place.
that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
all the
Yeah, that-
decisions are, and that's
yeah.
where the same people sitting by
Yeah,
the same
yes.
stools all the
So
time. and,
I didn't know if my dad knew him from beforehand, but they struck up a conversation, and he said he was a math teacher at Ramona High School, and my son, he's going to get a degree in math, and he told him what other things you could do, so it was okay then. I wasn't going to be a high school math
Oh,
teacher.
that's good.
But, even my senior year in college, I had no idea what I was going to go do. I applied to grad school. Did I? Yeah, I got into a couple different grad schools. But I think my last quarter, I was kind of burned out of school, so I applied to some jobs and thought I'd work a while. So I went to a company that was a defense contractor company
okay.
doing software type
Sure.
stuff. Most boring job I could ever imagine. So, you have a bachelor's degree, you think, I'm going to go, and engineers are going to come to me and want to solve their differential equations for them and this kind of stuff. And no, it was like, here's assembly code, just the, probably people don't remember, printers used to just have rolls and rolls of paper that would come out.
Yeah,
You
with
did
the,
perforated,
Yes, yeah.
and it would be in this big binder. And I was supposed to go through and read this assembly code and figure out if there were any mistakes in it. without being known what the code was supposed to do, because they wouldn't tell us because it was classified.
Oh, yeah,
Defense, yeah.
That's a difficult job.
So very difficult. So here's a subroutine. Do I find any mistake? I didn't even know assembly
Right.
code. I had to learn it. But so after about 3 months of that, it's like I'm applying to grad school again. Worked there a year, went back and got my master's in math in a year at UCR, UC Riverside. Went back, but now since I had a master's degree, I went to a different division in the company,
Okay.
same company, and was doing more interesting work.
Right.
And I worked there from, 84 to 85, and then 86 through 91 when I eventually went back to school. Every year I thought I'd apply, but I kept thinking back to that year I took off and going back to get a master's in math, and your brain, you forget so much
No.
Okay.
and how to think, and it is so hard to go back.
Right.
A lot of students do it. I won't lie, it is a difficult thing to do. You did it.
I did it as well.
Yes.
Slightly different route, but
Yes, yes. So I eventually just, was looking around at different things other than math, and UCLA had something called the biomedical physics program, and it was interdepartmental. You get a PhD in biomedical physics, but it could be in radiation biology or radiation physics, which would be taking care of linear accelerators and other machines for cancer therapy. And I forgot the other two things, but they had faculty profiles, not online at the time, because this was in 1990 when I was looking around. There was no internet at the time that I remember. I think graphical user interface, Windows just came out, right?
yeah, was
Yeah,
about
around
the
that time.
yeah.
Before that, everything was DOS,
Yeah.
disk operating system, which Windows is still based on.
Oh, yeah. We all remember that. I think that was, yeah.
And some people said they were interested in medical imaging. So, oh, that's interesting. So I applied and went and interviewed. I got accepted. And when I got there, I spent a couple years in that 3 years in the program, I think, before I switched to biostatistics. The biggest thing they were pushing and where all the money was in picture archiving and communication systems, or PAC systems. Processors were becoming more powerful. All these new techniques were coming online: MRI, PET, CT scanners, digital X-rays, and they had to find some way to have all these machines communicate and get them all put on, at that time, big old reels of tape for storage. And that just wasn't interesting to me. It was more of a computer science, engineering type of a thing. So I had a graduate student research position in the Department of Radiology, and there was a biostatistician housed there.
Okay.
And talking to him, and I thought maybe I'll move to the math department. I talked to them, and they said, yeah, sure. It's really easy to change majors as long as both chairs sign a piece of paper, you change your major.
Right.
But I decided probably not math, so I went to biostatistics. That'd probably be
So your degree, your PhD is in biostats?
biostat. Yeah.
I thought it was in engineering, like the biomedical.
No. I did 2 or 3 years there and then switched to biostatistics. I started that in earnest fall of '94 and finished my PhD in the fall of '97. I kind of had a head start. My PhD was in the exact statistical inference on Markov chain models.
Okay.
So Cyrus Meta
Yeah.
Incorporated, all that exact inference. His student was my advisor, Kareem
Wow.
Herji.
Okay. So I know Cyrus, but I don't know the
So
student. So they have actually, there were 2 guys in Boston. They opened this company, Cytel. They are doing software for like clinical trials.
Okay.
It's I think if not the biggest, one of the biggest kind of unlisted companies.
Fair
They
enough.
just
Fair enough.
recently got sold for like $1.5 billion to like private investors.
oh, they did, huh?
Yeah, I have actually.
Okay.
One of my classmates works there.
No.
He got this, the kind of, they gave them the thingy that, we got sold by this, there were many zeros there.
Right.
Yeah.
They had to make it wider.
Yes, they
But so
Sorry, I went off
you,
on a
you asked
tangent.
about what I was interested in.
Yeah.
It's I do statistical image analysis now, and I had said I was interested in doing medical image analysis, but nobody was really doing that, so I switched to biostatistics. But I had a very good background from the biomedical physics program and in a lot of medical stuff, because we had to take courses in anatomy and physiology. We learned stuff in other things. I would go and shadow a radiologist during their work. As part of our work, we had to go and watch different types of surgeries.
Okay.
Fun.
Radiological type surgeries, like prostate cancer, where they would put in these, it's called brachytherapy, put these little radiation seeds around the prostate. And so those types of things. Or there's something called, this is kind of disgusting, but a big guy like you had a brain tumor. And they did stereotactic radiation therapy, it's called.
Oh my God. Okay.
And they take the radiation gantry, right? And it rotates around your head.
Right.
And it's always, the beam is always centered towards the tumor, so they can give a very high dose to the tumor, but
not that
the
much
tissue
of
that the radiation is going through, the X-ray or the gamma rays are going through, it moves so you don't get a large dose and destroy healthy tissue. Well, to do this, you can't move.
Right.
So they put this cage on your head and they bolt it 4 places into your skull,
Here you go.
screwing it in. I mean, the doctor was really right in his forehead. Blood was coming down. The dude just started shaking and passed out. I was like, oh my God, I never want this in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a big, strong guy, and it must have been so painful.
Must have been, yes.
But so I learned a lot about these things. Learned some computer science along the way as well. So the PhD that I said in the exact statistical inference, there was a lot of programming as well.
Sure.
So I was able to get through in about 3 years.
And then you started working in California, yes?
Yes.
As a professor.
So I got my PhD in biostatistics. Not a lot, but a few of the faculty members had joint appointments in the medical school in the biomath department. And one of them did. And he hired me as a senior statistician to begin, because he was also in charge of all the statistics for the Johnson Comprehensive Cancer Center at UCLA.
Okay.
After a year of that, I got an adjunct assistant professor position, maybe a year and a half. I worked at UCLA for 3 years. I left mainly because I couldn't afford to live around UCLA, so we moved. I didn't think, we went house hunting, but we'd do it in the evenings or on weekends. And the drive up to Santa Clarita County was a half hour because it was only 29 minutes away. Well, on weekdays, it's more like a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
And the traffic got worse and worse because it was a booming bedroom community. More and more houses were being built. I was getting up so early in the morning and getting into work. It'd still take me a couple hours to get in at 6:30. And
Absolutely.
I was just getting too tired. So I said, we need to move. So Jeremy Taylor was on my dissertation committee at UCLA. He moved to Michigan in 98, probably 98. I think he was still there in 97 when I graduated. And he had a position open as a research faculty position. So I applied. And didn't call him or anything. I just sent him my application. A week or two later, so it's through the mail, calls me up. Are you serious about this? I said, yeah. A couple months later, I interviewed, got the job, left in July of 91,
Okay.
and went to
2001.
university. Huh?
2001.
Sorry, 2001, not 91.
2001.
That's before I got my PhD. In 2001 to the University of Michigan as a research assistant professor. And I've been there ever since.
Yeah. Quite of a change, isn't it? From
Yeah, it probably took me 5 or 6, well, the normal 6 years to get promoted to a research associate professor. And then in about, I'd say 2013, I wasn't involved in the meeting, but the full faculty will look at the promotion and tenure cases. For it was just promotion for everybody. And in that meeting, they looked at everything I was doing, which was more than what a research faculty is expected to do, and they decided to put me up for promotion to full professor with tenure. But they promoted me to research professor first and then switch over. They thought it'd be easier, so it took a couple years. So I think 2015 is when I became a full professor there.
You are still there?
I am still there. I'm
Students,
probably
doing
going to
research?
retire there because no one wants an old fart anymore.
Well, that's not true, but let's not go there.
Well, I don't know.
So a few years back, there was a possibility. Yes. Well, let's not go there.
I don't know what you're mentioning.
That's
well, when you're thinking about retiring in 3 to 7 years, I don't think it would be right to switch jobs and tell them, oh, I'm going to work another 10 years or whatever, because if you say I'm going to retire in 3 years, they're probably not going to hire you based on that, right?
No.
Okay. That's quite of a career.
So,
Yeah.
back to the imaging, if you want to, unless you had a question or something, Camille.
No, I guess it's again, I mean, I find it really interesting of how, series of decisions which were more around what I love and like to do and what I'm interested in can get you into a really nice career, and a very successful career as well, from what I heard, and doing, things that really, you're passionate about and actually want to do. It's we've talked about careers in geographies, and I think America is probably one of those places where it really allows you to redefine yourself quite
Take
often.
different
and-
career paths,
yes,
second
and-
chances, third chances,
and
yes.
do that. I talked with my friend not that far away about he's from Argentina, and he mentioned about United Kingdom being similar. You can. He was talking in a bit of a different context. He talked about someone changing careers from like a corporate world into more, doing psychology classes and becoming, more going into a completely different way. And said like again the Western world or the well-developed environments allow you to redefine yourself more often than anywhere else. And I think Armando mentioned it as well, that it's a bit more prepared. It's ready for you, and you just navigate around it. Well, in fact, in places like Portugal or someone else, you almost have to create a bit of a place for that. So but it's absolutely, it's fascinating.
We had one student 8 years ago. He had a bachelor's in statistics. He had his own consulting firm. Decided he wanted to come back and get a master's degree in biostatistics. He was 60.
There you go. So I still have a chance.
Nice guy. I liked him. We got along great. He was, but he was, wasn't an A plus student because he had to work still. But he did it. He came to class during the day and then he'd work at night.
But you don't do it for A+.
No, he just wanted a degree.
One of those things.
But he was like a B plus A minus student, so it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh, B plus A minus is fun for me, absolutely.
Well, the one thing, and this is, we don't have to go in that direction, but in the States these days, getting there's inflation in the grades, so kind of not getting an A.
Right.
It's but in graduate school, actually C, which is like the third kind of highest or lowest grade, it's not really a passing grade, so you have to get like B minus or above. But this is kind of minor.
You can get those grades, but in order to get a degree from Rackham Graduate School at Michigan, your GPA has to be 3.0 or higher. Okay. So a B or higher average. Yes.
Okay.
So if it's 2.99, you don't get a degree.
You just have to take a course in basket weaving and get an A, and you get.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know, that might be a hard course.
If you find the topics in the discussion interesting, please do subscribe and push the subscribe button, because that will allow us to make many more interesting subjects into our conversation.
Yeah, we will have guests, we will have, we'll talk about other interesting topics, so let us know. What do you think?
Let us know what you think and push that button, please.